fireplace. Put some logs.
I like a fireplace.
Put another log on the fire.
Yeah, put it on.
Three, two.
Well, hello, friends. We're bringing you this special live broadcast this morning. I'm Father Frank Pavone, Director of Priests for Life. This is Janet Morana, our Executive Director. And we wanted to have you join us. We've been doing this every one of these decision days, as they are called, when we know the Supreme Court is issuing opinions, because they tell us that they're going to be issuing opinions. They put it on scotusblog.com, which is where we are tuning in, and we'll show you the page as well. And there's live chat going on. And then every 10 minutes, starting in 1 minute from now, every 10 minutes, actually starting about 2 minutes from now, they will issue an opinion. Now, we don't know how many opinions they will issue. They could issue one. They might issue as many as 5 or 6. Could one of them today be the Dobbs case on abortion? It could. And that's why we wanted to bring you in with us to be live for this particular moment of history. Now, Janet, there's a couple of other big decisions, of course. I think there's about 13 opinions left.
There are 13 left to go.
To issue for this term.
Right. So the one is involving prayer, of course, freedom of religion, basically.
The Coach Kennedy case, where this coach was praying, got down on the field after the games and
at the
would
50-yard line and prayed.
Uh-huh.
And the whole debate was that some players would join him to pray. Obviously, other Christians felt that they needed to pray. And then other players started complaining that they felt pressured to join them.
Yeah, where did people get this?
Ridiculous.
Where did people get this ridiculous idea that, I have a right not to be offended by anybody? Look, you have a right not to be harassed. You have a right not to be violated in your physical person. You have a right to your reputation. But you don't have a right not to be bothered by something, and that's what's,
Yeah, so that whole thing. And so then Coach Kennedy refused to stop praying, basically.
God bless him.
God bless him for that, because he saw, so many players pray. And even in professional sports, I've seen New York Yankees.
They make the sign of the cross all the time.
And wait, let's not forget, Father, that most teams, both, no matter what, basketball, football, baseball, have a priest or a reverend as a chaplain.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Now, the first decision of the day is about to come. Likely the first one won't be Dobbs, even if Dobbs is today. And the reason, friends, is that the court,
they like to build drama.
Well, no, they issue these by reverse seniority. So the justice, like for example, if Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who's the newest justice on the court, were to be the one authoring a particular opinion, and let's say there were 4 other opinions that we're going to release today, they would release hers first. So they go reverse seniority. If Justice Thomas were the author of an opinion, he would be the last one. So this one, we expect that the author of Dobbs is Alito. Okay, here's the first opinion out. Not one of these big controversial ones. It's a decision, Berger v. NC NAACP. All right, so they'll explain now. What they do is, you see the screen there, brothers and sisters. So scotusblog.com. Okay, the first one is by Gorsuch. Okay. Justice Gorsuch. The vote is 8-1. Sotomayor dissenting. Okay, and they have a link to the opinion right away. So it'll happen the same way if and when the Dobbs case comes out. So they put the link to the opinion right away. They put the who was the author, Gorsuch, and he's not the lowest in seniority, but he's one of the newer ones, right? He's the first of the three to be appointed by President Trump.
Right.
And now we'll have a 9-minute wait until the next of whatever decisions are that'll come out today. And Janet, the way that we know that it's the last one of the day is that the SCOTUS blog will say R numbers. So what that is, it's a record number of the case as they come out. Obviously, they give them a record number. Once they issue the R numbers of the decisions that came out that day, that means under normal circumstances that we're finished for that day. So, so this is interesting. So you were saying about the Coach Kennedy case, maybe that'll come out today.
It might today, but what makes me crazy about the whole thing is it's been a tradition forever that every sports team has a chaplain.
Right.
As a chaplain.
Right.
We have a good pro-life leader, a friend of ours, Walter Hoy. He was for the that basketball team out in San Francisco. I forget their name, but professional basketball team. He was their chaplain. For a while there, we knew one of the priests who was a chaplain for the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
So there's a long tradition of sports players feeling the need to pray. Now, does everyone get forced in the locker room to pray? Of course not, or on the field. So the fact that they brought this case against Coach Kennedy and fired him is so ridiculous. And I think with having the majority of conservative justices on the court, I think he's going to win. I hope.
Can you pray in public in America? Yes, that's the point. And can you pray even if you're an employee of the of a school, even an employee of the government? Why not? In other words, the decision that the court did come out with just the other day said, and it's been a principle they followed before, if there's a publicly available benefit, the question in that other case was a little bit different. If there's a publicly available benefit and you are otherwise eligible for that benefit, you can't be denied that benefit just because of religious reasons. Right. So in Maine, two couples sent
that was for choice. That was
they sent their
vouchers.
Yeah, they sent their students to religious schools. And Maine has a program where, if the area where you live does not have a secondary school, the district will pay a school of your choice somewhere else,
right?
For your
they chose
tuition. They chose a religious school. Maine's law is that if it's a religious school, it doesn't qualify for the payment. It's like, wait a minute, why are you? See, that's an indirect interference with the free exercise of religion. And that's exactly what the
Supreme
Court said.
Right.
They said you can't burden, you can't deny the First Amendment of the Constitution gives you the right for free exercise of religion, and it says that no law should interfere with that, right? So the bottom line is that you can't do that directly or indirectly.
Right.
And they said, no, if there's a publicly available benefit.
Do you remember what the vote was on that one?
6-3. It was the conservative justices against
the liberals.
Against the liberals, yeah.
That's
against the crazies, yeah.
Now this one that just came out, we don't know what this was about. 8-1, and Sotomayor was the
lone dissenter. Yeah. One of the commentators here say this is a live blog, the SCOTUS blog. Sotomayor must be emotionally exhausted. Yeah, right. Another one said Sotomayor is a dissent machine in this term. See, now they're saying no R number, which means there's at least one more opinion coming out today. That'll be about 10-10. So it's an interesting process that they use here. So we've got big decisions percolating here on religious freedom.
Then there's also
because
New York
to finish,
State,
but to finish the thought on this, I think, you can also make a case that, hey, listen, it's one thing if the school officially says, a public school officially says, we are instituting a Catholic prayer, let's say, which everyone must say.
Oh,
unless otherwise you are going to be kicked out of the school, that is one thing. But to say that, to end up saying that, hey, a person that wants to pray publicly, give an expression of faith or gratitude to God, can't do it just because it's on the grounds of a school. Come on. That's oppressive to religion. I think they're going to, Coach Kennedy's going to win that case.
I think
So
so
we'll
too.
see.
Well, Father, we're very lucky that our office now is in the free state of Florida, as I call it.
Yes.
Governor Ron DeSantis. And in this last legislative term, or he might have done it by executive order, he signed something saying that every school in the state of Florida must allow for a moment of silence in the morning to start the day.
Yeah,
there
see,
you go.
a moment of silence.
A moment of silence.
Now, people can use that moment of silence whatever way they want. It could be secular meditation. It could be, pray to,
the God of the moon or
Right,
the sun or who
right.
knows what. But for those of us who want to believe in Jesus can then bow our heads.
It's the freedom. It's the freedom.
freedom.
Yeah. So friends, if you're just joining us, we want to sit live with you here for a few moments this morning to see what decisions the Supreme Court is issuing today. And if you want to give us your own comments or questions, I can see those on the screen here as well. And we're showing you scotusblog.com. And you can do this on your own, scotusblog.com. You go there. And first of all, can we see on scotusblog.com there where go to the lower scroll? Let's scroll down and we'll show you the calendar, of the court. And now you see that color-coded calendar. They tell you what days they're issuing opinions, issuing decisions. And those are the days in yellow. So you see today, the 23rd, has a yellow color to it. But then you also see tomorrow, the 24th, is in yellow as well, which means more opinions will be issued tomorrow. So if Dobbs does not come out today, it could possibly come out tomorrow. But that's the calendar on which you can tell. Now, you see next week, which is traditionally going to be the last week of the court's term. There are no days marked in yellow just yet.
Right.
So presumably by the end of this week, they will designate a few other days, next week for decision for opinions to come out.
Unless they decide between today and tomorrow to wrap it up, they could. They could.
Yeah, they could if they want to, if they're ready. All right. So another 2 minutes or so, we'll be having another case. Now, you started, Janet, to talk about the gun case.
Right.
And one of the commentators there on SCOTUS blog now is saying, Bruin. That's the gun case.
So they're cheering. They want to know about the gun case. And isn't that a New York State?
Yeah, it's coming out in New York State. Yeah. Right. So this is
once again, free state of Florida, we're allowed to have guns here too. Like it's kind of fun.
Well, there is a Second Amendment. And,
we should tell everybody. People here, Father, they go to the gun range like other people go to the bowling alley. It's like a pastime. It's a recreational thing. And actually, you and I both been to the gun range.
We had training. We had a very good instructor.
Yeah, and it's actually fun to. I mean, I thought I would be scared like a little rabbit to hold the gun, but no, it's good when you get the proper instruction, and it's kind of fun to see how good or bad you are at the target.
Aim,
your aim.
Exactly.
It's like a sport in a way. That's how it's treated really here.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
So there's going to be.
So people want to hear about the gun case.
Yeah.
So should we be cheering Dobbs?
Well, everybody is in high anticipation.
Right. I think they're going to do it by tomorrow. I really do. Because if they wait till next week, then what's going to happen is the craziness and the protests will
only increase. It'll build.
Only increase because then it minimizes.
Because after a while, it's like, it can only be.
It can only be that day. The other thing too is, see, if they do it by tomorrow, then they'll all go ballistic over the weekend in D.C.
Right.
And then by early next week, they'll clear out. Because, see, the following weekend, Father, is July 4th weekend, which is a big tourist weekend for D.C. A lot of people come to the nation's capital for the Independence Day celebration. We were there one time. There's beautiful fireworks on the mall. There's an evening concert. Well, we don't know if Biden's going to cancel anything, but usually, traditionally, it's a beautiful celebration. So maybe they want.
Okay, so another case has just come out. Nance v. Ward. Okay, so that is not one of the
that's not
big controversial ones. Okay, So, all right.
All right.
So then another 10 minutes, unless we get our numbers. Okay, so they just put the link up to this other decision. But yeah, so the July there's no telling when this case is going to be announced. There hasn't been any telling of that. Oh, and one reporter was asking me the other day, what's the reason for the delay? And we have to understand something. This is not necessarily a delay.
No.
In other words, we were never given a timetable, and we never are given a timetable by the Supreme Court about, this decision will be issued on this day. So we can't even say at this point in regard to Dobbs, we can't even say that there has been a delay, because this may have been the timetable all along anyway. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And the timing of a decision is only as timely as its slowest clerk. So you've got 9 justices, you've got 4 clerks working with each one of them, and it's like, how long is it going to take everybody to get their opinion written?
Well, the thing is too, Father. The Alito draft leaked thing was called a first draft.
It's a first draft.
So now we don't know, by the time it was leaked, how far down the road were they with passing it around.
Yeah.
And then other justices, what I understand, we talked to enough clerks over the time about this, that they kind of say, well, in paragraph so in here, I think I'd like to add this.
That's right.
Or I think we need to correct that thought and change it to that. Or they'll say, I agree with the draft as written, but I would like to write a
concurring opinion. And what they do in a concurring opinion, they say, I agree with the judgment, but I want to develop another argument here that supports the judgment, but it's not
but expands.
Yeah.
So we don't know how many of the other justices were writing concurrences.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
no, we don't.
Then we got Sotomayor and Huck Club on the other side writing dissents and what they were doing on their ends.
Yeah.
So, I don't see this as a delay. I just see that they leaked it out there thinking somehow they were going to change the vote and affect the work that was being done on it. But the work was continued.
And I've been asked about, do you think that because of this public furor, let me see if I can get the exact quote here. Because of this public furor, the justices, any of them will change their minds. This is the Alito brief. We've gone over this in detail here on this show. And I don't think so. I don't think so because, first of all, I think they've been under intense pressures and threats from the very day over a year ago that they said they were going to take this case.
Right.
Because the writing was on the wall from then.
Right.
I mean, right from then, we saw, when I first saw, it was right after my surgery last May of 2021 that the court said we're going to take the case. And when I saw that right away, I said, "Oh, this is big. This is gonna get rid of Roe," because the way they framed the question, are all pre-viability bans on elective abortion unconstitutional? I mean, you don't ask the question that way unless you're about to make some kind of a big change, because, what are you going to say to that? Yes, they are. And well, then that just leaves things the way they are. But they took the case. Very, very carefully. They took a long time to decide whether they would accept it. Once they accepted it, it is a very big deal that they are going to rule on it. So I think they were under intense pressure all along.
Well, come on, Chuck Schumer a while back, he made his threats on the steps of the Supreme Court.
Yes, he did. I was right there. He was like the distance of that wall to me. I heard him say that a lot.
He called him out.
Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, you have reaped the whirlwind. You're gonna,
right. So he was threatening them then.
And then there was just a news story yesterday saying the guy didn't apologize for that.
No.
He was asked by a reporter, because those comments now are, of course, coming back
to haunt him.
Yeah, and he refused to apologize for those threatening words against Gorsuch and Kavanaugh. But what was going on there was the June medical case.
Right.
And that was the the most recent decision of the court on abortion. And we were there, of course, on the day of it was the day of the oral arguments. And we had a rally going on, and the pro-aborts had a rally going on right next to us.
Right.
And that's where Schumer came and made those comments.
Uh-huh.
So, but the passage I was looking for is right here towards the end of the draft opinion. Let me read this, because this leads me to think that these justices are going to stand firm. Alito writes in the opinion, of course, not knowing that it was going to be leaked. We do not pretend to know how our political system or society will respond to today's decision overruling Roe and Casey. And even if we could foresee what will happen, we would have no authority to let that knowledge influence our decision. We can only do our job, which is to interpret the law, apply longstanding principles of stare decisis, and decide this case accordingly. We therefore hold, and then he goes into what the holding is, the Constitution does not confer a right to abortion. Roe and Casey must be overruled, and the authority to regulate abortion must be returned to the people and their elected representatives. So even if we could foresee what will happen, well, it turned out to be the case.
Yeah.
It was leaked, and now it's just giving them a foreshadowing of, indeed, what kind of crazy
Right.
reaction you get from these pro-aborts.
Right.
He says, even so, he doesn't just say, we're going to stick to our guns. Notice how he says it. We would not have no authority to let the public pressure change our decision.
Our vote.
Now,
Right.
Thomas spoke in the same way, just as Thomas spoke publicly after the leak. He was at a previously scheduled event, speaking engagement. And he said the same thing. We're not going to be intimidated. We're not going to be bullied.
No.
And of course, the Chief Justice, when the leak first came out and he verified that, yes, this was authentic,
Right.
he said the same thing. He said, we're not going to be browbeaten this way. Right. So, yeah, so that among other things makes me confident.
What's so ridiculous, Father, is this Jane's Revenge that are going around the country and trashing and damaging pregnancy help centers, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the left is so in favor of choice, why would you be destroying pregnancy centers that are giving women a choice?
Giving them a choice.
Giving them a
exactly.
choice. You're saying then, okay, unless you're offering abortion, we don't even want you existing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then that's not choice. That's not real choice.
Yeah.
It's amazing, though, Father, whenever you want to even pass any kind of law to give women knowledge or choice, like women's right to know, they rail against that too.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
They do.
While we're waiting, Father, here's a piece of good news I found, thanks to our Director of Communications, keeps all of the facts for us going, Leslie. 13 states already have on the books trigger laws.
That's right. 13 states.
I'm going to name them in a minute. So what that means, brothers and sisters, is when Roe is overturned,
which could be 1 minute from now,
which could be any minute now, these 13 states will make abortion illegal 100% in their states. So they are currently Arkansas, Idaho, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and Wyoming.
There you go.
There you go. So 13 states right off the bat already have those trigger laws in place, right? And then, of course, there's another list, additional states that will likely ban abortion. And the first on that list, of course, is Alabama. And the thing about Alabama, they just passed a law yesterday saying that an unborn child is a personhood bill. So I'm sure they're right behind it too.
Mm-hmm.
But other states that are poised to do the ban are, Alabama, Arizona, Georgia, Indiana, Michigan, Nebraska, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, West Virginia, and Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
So that's almost half of the nation
ready to do something. Yes.
Ready to protect the unborn.
Let's see what decision is going to come out next. You can see the SCOTUS blog there, friends. You're going to see it as soon as we're going to see it. You see the comment, people are leaving comments. Okay, let it rain again. All right, so let's see what the next decision is that's coming out by this court. And it will let us know immediately. Then Once it lets us know first we'll see what the decision is, then there'll be a link to the opinion, then there'll be a line explaining who wrote it and how the justices voted, who dissented, etc. Let's see that coming out. It's every 10 minutes.
Oh boy.
Starting at 10. So now this will be the third opinion of the day. Again, we do not know if Dobbs is coming today. It could. And we do not know how many other decisions will be coming today as well. So let us see now what's going on. So Janet, it's sort of like, okay, here's the next one, Vega v. Tico. So that's not one of the big controversial ones that we're watching. See, immediately they give you the link, and you could read the opinion. Now let's see. One of the little clues here is going to be who wrote this, because then we'll see the order of seniority. Because if it was authored by Thomas or Breyer or the chief, that means likely no Dobbs, because again, likely it's Alito with the majority opinion, and these go in reverse seniority. In other words, the folks that have been, the justices that have been on the court the longest go last as far as what decisions are issued on any given
does
day.
It say it? Who wrote it?
So, well, let me just go to the
suspense is killing me. It's like,
let me just go to the opinion itself. Alito. It was an Alito.
Oh, so we could have
All right, so we could have another Alito, but this one that just came out was written by Alito, and as you see now on the screen, no R numbers yet, which means there's still at least one more to come, and it could be another Alito.
And what was the vote on this one?
6-3.
Oh yeah, the three liberals.
All right, so another thing, of course, that people are asking is, of course, this law that was passed increasing the security for the justices and their families.
Right.
That was a very reasonable law, and it's amazing that the House of Representatives dragged their feet in passing it. The Senate passed it.
Well, they did. Nancy Pelosi was the one who dragged her feet. She refused to bring it to the floor for a vote.
Yeah.
I mean, it's her. Yeah. Can't blame the whole House. It's her. I mean, she's just unbelievable. Really is unbelievable.
But it was finally passed and then signed by Biden, and so security measures are in place. If you do we have a view of what's going on at the Supreme Court? It's a little noisy out there, but there are barricade fences there. I mean, usually when we've gone to the Supreme Court, I was talking about those
they
rallies.
Have those low barricades always, like even to March for Life. Mm-hmm. But now they have the big screens.
Oh yeah, see, you have a lot, all kinds of police out there. Wow, there's a lot of police there today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this the Reuters feed? Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So that gives you a sense of what's going on there. And once someone is asking here, can two opinions be written the same day be issued the same day, written by the same justice? The answer to that is yes, they can. Yes,
they can.
Yeah, and that has happened already.
Yeah, when we know Alito is going to be the Dobbs, so
yeah.
So we could get another Alito, or if they go on to someone else, then we pretty much know that it won't be Dobbs today, right? If we go up to a Thomas decision or a Chief Justice or a Breyer, then it's most likely not today. Yeah. Right.
But it's important to.
I mean, they still have a lot to go because we only had 3 so far. There were 13, so we still have 10 decisions still pending. There's still 10, so I think there still might be a few more.
There's a lot more action. Well, let's see if the next one is one of the big ones too. I mean, aside from Dobbs, again, like we were saying, we have a Second Amendment case coming out of the other one. Yeah, Second Amendment case coming out of New York, and Coach Kennedy with the religious freedom case. So the justices have extra security, and in fact, the Department of Homeland Security has sent out a notice, nationwide, telling people just be on high alert because there are some people that, it's not just the speculation. They've threatened to do violence as a result of these opinions. And
what's really a shame, I think, is that the president, even with threatening Kavanaugh's life itself, has not made any kind of a statement.
Yes.
No statement whatsoever coming from the White House, right? From the president or the vice president, not a boo, nothing. If one of the liberal justices were threatened, if the shoe was on the other foot, I bet you they would have already been saying,
of course.
This is terrible.
No, you remember what happened back in the days in the 90s when there was some abortion facilities were the target of violence and abortionists. They sent out federal marshals.
Yeah.
To the under Clinton, they sent out federal marshals to the abortion facilities to protect them. Now, a lot of pregnancy centers have been vandalized.
Yes.
Where are the federal marshals to protect them? It's a double standard, no doubt about it.
It's definitely a double standard.
No doubt.
And I don't understand why they're allowing these people to march up and down right in front of the justices' homes.
Well,
I mean, come on.
There's a federal law.
There's a law, but they're not enforcing anything. Why aren't there police barricades on either end of their street, at least keeping people at bay?
Otherwise, just send out law enforcement and get the people out of there.
And then,
send them away.
And then to take Amy Coney Barrett's children's names and the schools they attend and tell people to go to those schools and protest in front of those schools. It's always been understood that the families and the children of politicians and judges should be off limits. Off limits. They have no scruples, these people.
As we're waiting to see if anything else further is coming out here relating to Dobbs, I'd like to also review for people and friends. If you're just joining us, we are. Let's just see. Let's see some of the comments that are coming in also. Joseph is asking, Father Frank, are you safe? Well, we've got extra security, that's for sure.
Well, we do have. First of all, we have video cameras, 24-hour surveillance.
Well, we also have a security company that takes care of our building.
Right.
And me.
Yeah, and actually, the local police here in Titusville have been wonderful.
Oh, yes.
They've been kind of passing by our building a little more often. And they actually said the day the decision comes down, to just let them know, and they're going to have a police car here for the whole day, just in case, kind of thing. So.
Let's see, Chuck Schumer should have been arrested. Jan is saying, this is ridiculous how these Democrat senators and Democrat operatives get away with this nonsense. That's why Monica is asking the same thing. How are they allowed to get away with this stuff and go to their homes? Well, it's because of the political pro-abortion allegiance of the Democrat Party. That's in a sentence the reason.
Well, and they've gotten so extreme. I mean, I have here again a few more examples, Father. Okay, here's some states that have expanded or expanded abortion access. Okay, so in Vermont in 2019 enacted age 57, which forbids the government from interfering in a woman's abortion at any stage of pregnancy. Rhode Island's Reproductive Privacy Act of 2019 restricts the right to an abortion prior to fetal viability or afterwards if an abortion is necessary for the health and life of the mother. Illinois' Reproductive Health Act of 2019 removed restrictions on late-term abortion, and the Parental Notification Act was repealed in 2021 in Illinois.
So what
Parental notification was repealed.
What statistics are they relying on? What? Show me one poll that indicates that support for parental involvement in a minor's abortion has gone down. There's no. Show me one poll that shows that Americans' support for late-term abortion has gone up.
It hasn't.
Nothing.
What
these people are making laws, these Democrats, based on their own ideology, not on the people they're supposed to be representing.
Exactly. Okay, so here's another one, Father. Paying for abortion. Oregon has approved allocating $15 million to Seeding Justice, an organization that will distribute the money to women who want abortions and businesses that provide them. $15 million.
And again, do we have any statistics showing an increase in support among Americans for paying for somebody else's abortion?
And of course, in good old New York, they're calling for funds to give women who want to travel to the state for an abortion if they live in another state where abortion is illegal. So New York now.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh.
We have Bruin.
We do?
have Bruin. We have the Second Amendment case. All right, this is big.
Okay.
Let's see what the decision is. This could be another victory for the conservative side. It's going to come up here in just a second. Justice Thomas, 6-3.
That means no Dobbs.
Well, that's probably right. Yes, that's probably right. But let's see here what Justice Thomas said. This is a big Second Amendment case. We got to wait for the link to the opinion. Justice Thomas, 6-3, tells us all we need to know, doesn't it?
That's right. That's right.
Once again, the conservatives 6
stuck together.
Thank you, President Trump. By the way, we wouldn't be Breyer, Sotomayor, and Kagan, dissenting. Yeah, thank you, Obama. The Obama legacy lives on.
Yes.
But so does the George W. Bush.
Right.
And in fact, President Trump really any of these conservative victories. All right, let's see. If we could on the screen click on the link to the opinion itself, and brothers and sisters, let's just see what this says. The state of New York makes it a crime to possess a firearm without a license, whether inside or outside the home. An individual who wants to carry a firearm outside his home may obtain an unrestricted license to have and carry a concealed pistol or revolver if he can prove that proper cause exists for doing so. An applicant satisfies the proper cause requirement only if he can demonstrate a special need for self-protection, distinguishable from that of the general community. The petitioners are adult, law-abiding New York residents who both applied for unrestricted licenses to carry a handgun in public based on their generalized interest in self-defense. The state denied both of their applications for unrestricted licenses, allegedly, because they failed to satisfy the proper cause requirement. So they sued state officials who oversee the processing of license applications and said this violated their Second and 14th Amendment rights by denying their unrestricted license applications for failure to demonstrate a unique need for self-defense. Now, let me scroll ahead. Here's what the court held, page 2. New York's proper cause requirement violates the 14th Amendment by preventing law-abiding citizens with ordinary self-defense needs from exercising their Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms in public for self-defense. And this is a big victory.
That is a big victory.
This is, and what I just read, to make sure people didn't miss the point. So in New York is we both are from New York originally.
I know, yes.
It's a crazy place.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The Democrats we've got to get the Democrats out of power because this garbage comes from them. And they hate the Second Amendment. Right. They want to, if they could, they would get rid of the Second Amendment. We've got to be aware of that. So what New York said was, there's a right to keep and bear arms, right? For Second Amendment. But, you can't get a license to carry around your gun if you're in public places unless, you can show that you need some special protection. Maybe somebody threatened you or there's a gang that was formed just to target you, and they're out to kill you, So you have to have some kind of special protection. And the Supreme Court is saying, no. You have a Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Sure, there's licensing. I mean, we did training for at the gun range. Ourselves. I had to fill out the form when I purchased a gun, and they did the background check on me, and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, the state can legitimately put in place certain hoops that you have to jump through, right? Especially if you're going to conceal and carry.
Right.
You've got to be, authorized to do that. Okay, fine. But the Supreme Court is saying here now that the New York State overstepped its bounds and violated the rights of these citizens by not letting them conceal and carry their gun. And they didn't let them do that because, why do you have a special need for self-defense? And the court here is upholding their right to say, no, this is in general. I don't know when I might need it for self-defense. There's a general right to defend yourself and to be ready to defend yourself, including by carrying a weapon. So this is a victory for the Second Amendment. Thanks be to God for that.
Bravo.
That's good.
So the NRA must be celebrating right now.
Yeah, and Gun Owners of America, another
Right.
organization.
You know, people have to realize, you know, we basically got exposed to all this since we moved to Florida, because being in New York, like we just said, you don't have any access to any guns.
Well,
really.
and there's, you know, there's almost like a sense that there's something wrong with guns.
Wrong. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with guns.
Right.
You know?
So since we've been here, I know we have some family members who took us to the gun range when we first got here. You know, at first I was a little scared, but I saw how efficient they are at these gun ranges. I mean,
amazing.
It's serious business.
It's amazing.
Very serious business. You know, you first of all, you before you even get into the range itself with a gun, there's all these rules you have to be aware of. And then when you go in, I mean, it's a very protected environment, and you got the little headphones on to protect your ears from the noise. And it's very, very serious. It's nothing to joke around about. Everyone who goes in there is of a very serious nature.
Oh, yes.
Gun safety is 100% enforced. You know, there is no alcohol beverages on premises. You're not allowed to be drinking at all. Matter of fact, I think if the owner of the gun range senses that someone has been drinking, they won't even allow you access to the gun range. So it's a very serious thing here. And people don't walk around and say, "Oh, look, I got my gun." Don't even talk about it.
Yeah. Now this,
you know,
this decision here, where we're seeing here on the SCOTUS blog, people are commenting on it, will have an effect on future gun regulations that, you know, different states are considering.
Well, right now, you
And
know,
that Congress,
the Senate is poised this week or early next week to vote on a gun bill.
Yeah. And one of the things that
bipartisan support for.
Well, yeah, but one of the things that Thomas says here, Justice Thomas, is that a regulation, any kind of a gun regulation, has to be consistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. Now, that evokes a principle that we've been seeing in the Dobbs case.
Right.
Is a right to abortion consistent with our nation's history and tradition? The answer is a resounding no.
No.
There is no such thing ever, anywhere in the tradition of our country about a right to abortion until magically it appeared in 1973 with Roe versus Wade.
Right.
So similarly, you see the similar principle being applied here. New York instituted a regulation that is not consistent with the historical tradition of firearm regulation in this country. Yeah, I mean, this is an important lesson. Now, you say, you know, in terms of gun regulations now that are being debated in Congress, you know, there's a problem with this particular legislation, despite, you know, some of these Republicans that are supporting it. And that is, one of the things they do is they change the definition of a federal firearms licensee. In other words, a person who is authorized to sell firearms, authorized federally to sell firearms. It's been defined as somebody who, you know, has this as their livelihood. You run a gun business, like the gun range that we were talking about just now. They change it to say it's somebody who is making a profit by the selling of the guns. That's a federal licensee. So in other words, you have to get licensed if you're going to sell a gun at a profit. You see, the danger of that is, what if a dad owns a gun, or what if what if you're a gun owner,
right?
And at a certain point in your life, you want to sell your gun to one of your children,
to you, Father.
or to me.
Yeah.
What the implication is in this bill is that, well, now you have to be, you can't make a profit unless you're licensed federally. Now, why would that be a problem? The Democrats have an agenda going on here. It's not just about, and it's not primarily about regulation or safety. It's about control.
Right.
Because if you it's the same reason that they want universal background checks,
Right.
for
Well,
anybody.
Father, some guns are antiques and have like an antique value, and that
Yes.
would be where you would make some money on selling that gun because it has some value as an antique
Yeah.
gun. So
But-
why should you be stopped from doing that?
But why do they want to do this? They want to know where all the guns are. That's
Right.
the point. In other
Right.
words, if you have to get licensed, even if you're going to sell a gun to your children for a profit, they want to know where all the guns are. Why would they want to know where all the guns are? Because in their radical core, these maniacs want to try to take those guns away.
Oh yeah.
That's not going to work. You can't do that. They wouldn't even have time to do that. Decades and decades and decades. And it's just totally impractical. But that's what their lunacy drives them to. So you look at, universal background checks. Yeah, right. So that you can know where all the firearms are? No thanks. Okay? No thanks.
Well, I'm telling you, Father, right now, the laws in some of these blue states are getting crazier and crazier. This morning, I'm watching Fox News, and they have this person on from Illinois. And in Chicago, now listen to this, Father Frank, the Chicago police can no longer chase a criminal. You can't chase them. Okay? So here, picture this. These kids run into a store, smash the window, grab jewelry out of and start running down the street. They can't chase them. Can't chase and pursue.
Like Senator Marco Rubio said recently when I was at an event with him in Mar-a-Lago, this is a battle between common sense and insanity.
Yeah, is that insane? That now you're handcuffing the police, saying,
and notice,
don't go chase the bad guy.
Is this a Republican-run city?
No, it's Democrat.
No,
Democrat.
It's Democrat. Just like all the
Look at
failed,
how many people
just
are
like
murdered in Chicago every week.
just like all the other failed cities,
right,
that are just piling up the corpses every weekend.
The homeless camps
and
are
the
all
homeless
over
and
the place.
the excrement on the public
It's
sidewalks.
horrible.
Democrats. That's the Democrat agenda.
Yeah,
That's it right there.
It
You want to
is.
vote Democrat? You want your cities
So
to
do
be.
we have any more decisions coming?
So did they give our numbers? Oh,
Our
they gave
numbers.
our numbers.
So we had
Okay,
how many
see?
cases today? We had what, 5? 4?
We had 4 cases today. All right.
Uh-oh.
Well, listen.
4.
Um,
4 down, 9 to go.
Well,
Well,
okay.
I
So
don't know,
tomorrow's the next decision day.
yeah. We'll be back.
And then they may announce more for the following week. Friends, I'm so glad that you stuck around and joined us here as we watched this morning, watched and waited on the Supreme Court. No Dobbs decision, but an important affirmation of our Constitution and our Second Amendment rights in the Bruin decision out of New York. And I'm glad we were able to be here with you watching that decision come out. And Janet, we'll be back with our friends with a lot more commentary.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, we ask you to go to SupremeCourtVictory.com. SupremeCourtVictory.com. And Janet, as you know, they'll see all sorts of videos there of discussions we've had about the draft opinion,
Right.
videos of me interviewing attorneys who wrote some of the briefs. We had one of the briefs, and all kinds of documentation. They could read every one of the briefs.
Exactly.
if
And
they
you know,
wish.
Father, we are in a very unique time right now. I think we've been praying about this forever.
Yeah.
Where suddenly everyone's talking about abortion.
Yes.
I mean, come on, this is like a dream. But
it is a dream.
But the problem is there's a lot of bad information out there. So what we need you to do is have those conversations now in a very calm and good way, but knowledgeable. And I do have to, Father, put a little plug in for my brand
Of
new
course.
book, which will help you, by the way. It's called Everything You Need to Know About Abortion for Teens, but I always say it's for adults too.
Of course.
And in here, Father, look at the beautiful photo album we put in.
The newest best pictures
of the unborn
unborn baby.
Starting at 7 weeks.
When the baby's still an embryo.
Still an embryo. There's a chapter in here there's all about rape, incest, life of the mother, fetal anomaly, the thing the other side always says to you, well, what about the woman who's raped? There's a whole chapter on how to discuss this issue with good arguments and how to be on the offensive instead of just the defense. So you can go to abortionandteens.com, place an order today. I will personally autograph it for you and give you a personal message inside. So this one is a great tool to use right now so that you can really, with good information, argue the issue right now, because there's a window of opportunity. Every place I go, people are suddenly asking me about it. It's kind of fun. I can't even go to the beauty salon, Father, without being asked about abortion right now.
Yeah.
It's wonderful opportunity because we're changing people's opinion. I'm able to help. You know how many times I say to people, do you realize that Roe v. Wade and Doe v. Bolton, those two decisions, made abortion legal through all 9 months of pregnancy, 7, 8, 9th month? And people go like this, really? I had no idea. So this is a great opportunity to really educate people, our church-going family, about abortion.
It sure is. We have to take that opportunity.
In our parish too, a few weeks ago, our pastor gave a powerful sermon on abortion because they feel compelled. I guess we got to talk about this because it's all over the news.
Yeah, the clergy will be more ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
And that's why my talking about books, my book, Proclaiming the Message of Life, gives the homily hints for every Sunday of the year.
Yeah.
ProclaimingTheMessageOfLife.com. They can order that book, give it to their pastor. Now's the time.
Yeah.
Now's the time to charge. Now's the time to get the pastors preaching on abortion, people talking about abortion, and studying what Roe v. Wade really said. And now hopefully it'll be in the dustbin of history. Yeah, it's a great moment. So SupremeCourtVictory.com about the case, and then endabortion.us, our overall website, with a lot more information besides. Thanks, Janet, for being with us. And thanks, friends, for joining us for this special program.
We'll be here waiting on tender hooks tomorrow, too.
God bless you all, and we'll talk to you soon.
Follow him, Father Frank Pavone, Fr. Frank Pavone, on Twitter. He is the National Director of Priests for Life. Please go to priestsforlife.org.